This came from the moon. Let's talk about my newest lunar meteorite slice, NWA 15605. This is a type of lunar rock called a feldspathic breccia. A breccia is kind of a conglomeration of lots of rocks that have kind of fused together due to impacts and recombinations. In this case, it's probably due to impact events on the moon. So we have multiple other meteorites hitting the moon over and over again, which brecciates different material together and creates kind of the conglomeration of many different things here. And you can kind of see that if you look at the little parts of it. Now, in this case, we know that this rock is probably from the lunar highlands, so it's the older lunar crust material. We know that based upon the composition of elements and minerals within it. And that can tell us a lot about the state of the moon and how it was formed with regard to some of those older parts of the crust. We contrast that with the darker parts of the lunar crust, which are the mare lava fields that you see up there when you look at the moon at night. I think the most interesting thing about this lunar slice and what makes it so visually appealing are those kind of auburn dark reds that you see in it. This is not something we see a ton in lunar rocks. Whenever we see those deep dark reds, we generally associate that with oxidation of iron and metals and things of that nature. But lunar rocks typically don't have a ton of metal in them. They have some that's often not from the moon itself. We don't see a lot of metal in the crust, but it's from the impactor that caused that piece of the moon to be ejected out into space and eventually find its way to Earth. So we have pieces of some other type of asteroid fragment combined with the moon in part of that brecciation process that we're seeing here in the sample. That's assume what it is that we see here. I'm not for certain. It could be something related to like impact melt glass going on, which would also relate to iron and weathering and oxidation of that. Could be something else that's a little bit beyond my expertise. Certainly if that's your field or if you're a classifying scientist, maybe you want to comment below and give us some thoughts. But it was stunning. I had to have it for my collection. It looks completely unique from all the other lunars that I have.